Never know.
Basically, I want to thank Munhall officials for the flowers last week. I really appreciate it. I thank you all, everyone. My half-brother died in
It was very nice.
okay. Got a couple other things that I would like to cover. Government Days is coming, and I've had great difficulty getting in touch with the school as far as the days. It would have been in April or April 16th, 17th, but I think we're kind of past that now. We're past that date, so without talking to the school, definitely, it will be on May 26th and 7th, whenever the borough meets, and also the following day parade. I'm sorry, not May 26th, 27th, May 16th and 17th. That would be the council meeting on the 16th, and the parade with the kids would be on the 17th. So we're kind of going with that. We still have to hear from the ladies that will be doing the classes, and there's some different people, the police, the mayor, that's able to talk to the kids, and inform them how to run for government, for the mayor. Everybody runs for mayor up here, then after they elect the mayor, they go on to elect the council and so on and so forth. That's one of my private, and I know it's one of our private statements. Whenever the kids were here taking over, you know why? Because they make more sense than any of us. So with that comment, no laughs.
Okay.
There's one.
16th and 17th is a Friday to Saturday.
Oh, yeah. My calendar, so it's the wrong day. Tell me what day that is.
14th and 15th?
Yeah, it would be the 14th and 15th, and it would be the Wednesday and the Thursday. 14th would be the council meeting.
21st would be our council meeting. May 21st is our council meeting. 14th is our workshop. The 21st is the regular meeting. The 21st.
The 21st and 22nd.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, that's when it'll be. It'll be that council meeting along with the parade the following day. And that week, as I say before them, they'll set some dates for council and the mayor and the chief and different police to talk to them, and which we have every year. That's the third graders that are involved all the time in Park Elementary. And to me, it's a wonderful day, a terrific day, whenever they take over government. Now, that being said, we'll get into the Memorial Day programs, and there's a few of them. Memorial Day will fall on the 26th, Monday. It's a little earlier this year, but prior to that, the Friday before, on the 23rd, our Boy Scouts, and everybody's invited to come join us, put flags on the cemetery, Homestead Cemetery. Everybody is invited to come join us and with the Boy Scouts that we have, and do the flags on the 23rd at 3:30. We'll start. After that, it would be the 24th. West Mifflin has their Memorial Day program at Mitchell Page Park up here in West Mifflin. That's at 10 o'clock on Saturday. Sunday, the 25th, the Whitaker will have their annual Memorial Day program at 1 p.m., which is very nice. VFW also at 3 o'clock will have the program that Sunday. That's the 25th. Monday's the big day when at 8 a.m. St. Therese is our Mass, our Memorial Day Mass, and Father O'Connor will do the Mass at 8:15 on that particular Monday, and it will be over in time for us to be done about 9 o'clock to line up and parade right next door, which is in Steel Valley High School's parking lot. So it usually works out real well that way. 9 a.m. parade lines up, 9:30 we take off, 9:30 sharp. 10 o'clock is our program at the cemetery, and we have a lovely program. And where's Agnes? Is she here yet? Agnes Patterson is in the process of pushing all the mules that need to get the work done. And we got some of them things done already, Agnes, so I can tell you that. But she will once again lead the Memorial Day service, and Mr. Shields is in it. Anybody is certainly welcome to join us on the Memorial. And our meeting is on April 6th at 1:30 for the Memorial Day Committee. And there's a lot of work. Rob Falls helps out too. I'm sorry if I miss anybody. I'm a little bit behind now. But with that, that is the entire Memorial Day. And again, too, that's tentative, please, because I have some contacts to make, and it's early, but we wanted to give everybody enough time. Especially, we got new people coming, and we all invite everybody to take part, participate in it. And with that, that's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Hey, Ray,
Yes.
I want to ask you a question.
Ask.
Now, this pertains to the cemeteries. Now, wait a while.
This isn't the time for this.
No, that has to be said. I'm getting a lot of complaints over at the St. Mary's Cemetery that you're not putting all the flags up there that you're supposed to be putting. And if it continues, I'm going down to see Mike Murphy. And another thing, and if you don't believe me, go see Vince Rogers and Maureen Duffy. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mike Murphy.
Thank you.
What's Mike Murphy?
We're gonna move
You don't know who
on.
Mike Murphy is,
I know
huh?
who he
That's
is.
where we
What's
get
he
the
got?
flags
Solicitor's
from.
report.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out about that.
Mr. Columbus, please, 1 meeting, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you. My items tonight all pertain to ongoing litigation. We discussed in executive session. I have no other report.
Thank you. Borough Engineer, Lindsay.
Thank you. You have a copy of my report. The only thing I wanted to highlight is it's not new, but if you're planning on having liquid fuels money that's allocated for a paving project, I left the streets that Bob and I had looked at. I only caution, I don't know what the budget is for this year, or if they're planning, if there's enough money to do paving. But if the interest of council is to use that, we should probably look at design and bidding by a decision by the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Put that out there and I'm available, there's other ideas for streets, or like I said, I don't even know what the budget is, what other items that needs to pay for, but I wanted to highlight that.
Thank you.
That's all I had tonight.
So if your street's really bad, let somebody on council know so somebody can look at it.
Ravine Street,
Yeah.
who owns that, the county or Munhall?
I think that ended up being mostly Munhall's problem.
No, it's been Munhall's problem.
Public Works, Paul.
Yeah, give you a copy of my report. I sent it back to April one school, April March one call. Okay, and I sent 2 employees to county school for baiting rats, mosquitoes, and spraying weeds. Okay, we can't get bait or anything unless we have somebody licensed. So we need courses for tomorrow. That's all I have.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can you send somebody to get licensed?
Yeah, that's why he sent them to the class, that's what he just said.
Okay, I didn't do that.
Chief?
Yeah, you have a copy of my staff report. If you don't mind, I'd like to have Officer Bowman give you a little update on something.
Sure.
Yeah, just real quick, I want to let everybody know, we had a Crime Watch meeting the other night. We have several events coming up I want people to be aware of. First one is we have April 26th, 10 to 2 here at Munhall number 2 Fire Hall. We're doing a DEA drug take-back. It's a great honor. We've been recognized by the DEA to assist them with this. Basically what it is, any prescription drugs, any drugs you have that you need to get rid of, bring them here, we take them, no questions asked. The reason we're doing this is they're showing up in our waterways now, because people are flushing them and doing different things. If they're throwing them out in the garbage, kids are getting a hold of them and using them, so we want to get rid of them safely. This is a way to do it. At the meeting last night, one of the big things we talked about is we're doing our community cleanup again this year. We've done it for the past 3 years now. I want to try to grow it this year. That's why I wanted to bring it to the council meeting. We're going to do it May 3rd from 10 to 2. It's going to be a Saturday. We're going to meet hopefully here at the Borough Building. We're going to have gloves, bags, different areas for you to go out to. We're going to spread out, clean up different areas of the community. And whenever we're done, we're going to come meet back here, have some hot dogs, something to drink, a chance to sit down and get to know your neighbors, and a chance to socialize. That's one of the biggest building blocks in the community, and I think that's something in Munhall we're starting to lose, where people are not talking to their neighbors anymore. And we got to kind of get that back. So I'd like to see that. If anybody could help out at all, if they could donate some water, some drinks, some time, whatever it may be, pickup trucks, garbage trucks, whatever it may be, we'll take any kind of help we could do that day. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, little kids, I don't care what it is. Just come on down, give us a hand. We're going to meet April 8th at 7 p.m. here at in the community room to discuss it and kind of like finalize our plans on that. So if you guys could come, that would be awesome. And the final thing I want to talk about is in August, we're looking at doing, again, our National Night Out. National Night Out is something that goes across the country. It's a great time. What we're looking for is if you have a block where you can get people together, have a block party, have a cookout, have something like that going on, that would be awesome. Let us know where you're going to do it at. We'll give you some support behind that. And again, it's about building that building block to help make a great community. It's something we've been trying to do for a couple of years. We've had limited success. We've had Lee Street shut down one year. We had East James shut down another year. Woodlawn does their own little thing once a year, but we want to try to do it as a big community. Let us know where you're at. We'll try to get some recognition. We can get the press here and show that Munhall is a great community. We've had enough negative publicity lately, and we need to turn that around, and we need to get this good stuff out there. So downstairs, you'll see this as you're going out the door. It's the DEA drug take back. And also, there's another form down here. It says Borough Munhall Police Department on the top. On here, you'll find my email address, our Facebook page, and everything else. If you need to get a hold of me, this is the best way to do it. Let us know if you can help out. If you want to be part of Crime Watch, send your information over to me there. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from all of you very soon.
Could you give those dates again? Could you give the dates again?
Yes, sir. April 8th will be the next Crime Watch meeting to kind of finalize everything, get everything going. May 3rd will be the actual cleanup day. That'll start at 10 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully meeting here at the Borough Building. National Night Out has not been set for a date yet. We're looking at August or September. And the DEA drug take-back is April 26th. So, yes?
Dan, last week at a workshop, there was something that Harry had about from the Propel School. Was interested in doing a service project of cleaning up a park. Did they contact you?
I have not contacted them yet. We're going to talk to Propel School. I'm going to talk to Still Valley High School. I've already reached out to the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, youth groups, whatever we can. So any group that we can, we're definitely going to reach out and get in touch with those people.
They were interested in doing some service project and send up. And
yeah, we want to teach the youth, hey, this is what you do. This is what this is being part of the community is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Great job, Dan.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks, Dan. Code enforcement, Dave.
Fire chief.
Oh, fire chief, I missed that, sorry.
Well, I'm not going to speak as fast as my cohort over there. So I gave you all a copy of the report, 32 calls for the month. 371 hours were spent at calls, 715 at drills, 284 other hours. So we have a total of 1,370 volunteer hours for the month of February. Just some other notes for you. I have 10 firefighters currently in Essentials class. Essentials is the beginning firefighting class. So anybody that joins fire department, this is the class they start out in. It's about 164 hours, I think. Don't hold me to the number, but it's a large number of hours. So we have 10 people proceeding on that class. We can always use more firefighters. We need them. So it's great that these folks joined and are putting in their 2 cents. We have 7 people in the hazardous materials operations class, which teaches us how to actually operate and mitigate a hazardous materials incident. Can't just go barging in there. 6 EMTs. In the EMT class, they actually also have 4 people waiting for the next EMT class, so it's good. We have a lot of people that are interested in getting into the medical side of things as well. I think I talked at the work session. I don't know if you had a chance to do a letter or something to the Auditor General to assist with the merger, to kind of see if you can give that a little push. So if you haven't had a chance, if you could do that, greatly appreciated. I think it would go a long way.
Consider that a friendly reminder.
Thank you, thank you. The last thing is, and I neglected to bring this up at the work session, so it was an oversight on my part. But I'll be getting to each of you a set of the rules and regulations for the Bureau of Fire Chief. The end of the year, we'll be doing an election coming up here in September to replace me. My term will be done. And, since we're anticipating having 4 companies instead of 5, some of the rules need change to accommodate that. So we want to get your input, make sure it's okay with you before each of the companies goes to their individual company and votes to approve those. So I'll get them to you. I don't know that you have to take any action on the floor for them, but I'd like your input on them just to make sure that, none of you have a problem with the change. That concludes my report.
Can I ask you one question?
You certainly may, sir.
I was in the back of the Borough building, back in the back lot yesterday. There's an old school bus back there. Are you guys using that
Yes.
actual school bus to actually?
Yes,
use
we
what's
are,
up there?
we are planning a class, or a couple classes, to use that school bus. And then once the class is done, we already have arrangements, Again, Chester brought it in, they didn't charge us to tow it, because the deal is that when we're done with it, we're gonna call them, they're gonna tow it, they're gonna junk it, and whatever they get for the junk is gonna
Now,
pay.
there
for
used to
the
be an
tow.
old car that sat back.
Yeah, the car is gone.
And now there's a bus there, and I just had to ask you that question.
Yeah, the bus is back there, we're planning, and we're hoping to do the class in April, like mid-April. I don't know that we're gonna have time to get that in, it's probably gonna push into May. But yeah, that's what the bus is for.
Thank you.
Okay. Enforcement, Mr. Cannon.
Hey, you have a copy of my report. The only thing else up to report is using ordinance 1506. We had 2 tenants removed this past month. One tenant, their house was shot at twice, so we had them removed, and another tenant, this cops were called there several times. And using 1506, both landlords agreed to get rid of the tenants. So that ordinance is working pretty good.
Good.
Mr. Lloyd, we sent the file to legal tax today, so they can have all the information that they asked for. And that's it.
Okay. Sewer authority, Mr. Tarek, I thought I saw you in the crowd.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna hit the items that I think are most pertinent to you guys and any of the taxpayers who might ask questions. We talked about getting a loan for our second round of our reconstruction of our sewer lines. So that loan was approved, and it's for $5.2 million. It's gonna be a 20-year loan. Our interest rate for the first 6 years will be 1.6% annually, and then for years 7 to 20, it goes to 2.2%, which is much better than the rate we got in the first loan. Or any rate, so we could have got any bond issues, which we were looking at as well. We won't need a co-sign like we did last time. You guys had to sign for us on the loan. We obviously got some establishment that they considered, and that's not going to be a requirement. Now, in accordance with this project, there's 2 issues that I wanted to approach you folks about to have you consider. Some of these were, well, there's been a rule change that wasn't in place last time for us, and then one of these items you did wait for us last time, and that was the street opening ordinance. I spoke to Mr. Cannon earlier this evening. I trust that he's very well satisfied with how the program ran whenever we did it for the first round here 2 years ago. And we would request that since our ratepayers are your taxpayers, we would request a waiver for the street opening ordinance. And any work that we need to do, we'll, you can have the engineer examine afterwards and make sure everything's up to speed. But we've been pretty conscientious about how we handle the streets since we're local like you folks. The other issue this is going to be an expensive one if we have to carry through on it, and that is because we're going to be working in a lot of streets. You now have an ordinance that's for curb-to-curb paving. That's something that if it applies to utilities, fine, I understand they have a rate base that's much broader than just Munhall. But we're really not a utility. We don't report to the Public Utility Commission for any of the things that we have on that because we're overseen by you folks and giving appoint members to our board and so forth. So because of that, we would ask, and the other portion of this is PennVest doesn't recognize curb paving. So they won't provide us with any funding to cover that gap between what, where we open a street up and have to pave it versus going across the street. They won't cover that. Once again, falling back on our behavior from the previous contract, I would hope that that would be something that we get street opening bonds, we make sure everything's taken care of as far as that goes, and we hold our contractors feet to the fire over any paving issues that come up. So we would respectfully request that you help us out to make the burden on the ratepayers as little as possible. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have on those two items.
I have a couple of questions. I don't know how our street opening ordinance reads, if it says public utility company or if it says anyone that opens the street. Obviously, if it says public utility and you're not a public utility, it wouldn't apply to you anyway. So that would probably not necessitate a change in the ordinance.
Yeah, it may not, I was thinking the same thing, I don't know how the definition reads applicability. It may not be subject to it anyway, I have to read it, revisit it, haven't read it, but some.
So,
I don't think it does, because we talked about a private contractor would be held to the same if they had to do that. So I don't think it specifically mentions public utility.
right. And they're not a private contractor either, although
Right,
they'd have
so
a
I don't
private
know where
contractor most
where to
likely
fall
doing the
into
work.
it.
But I think the heart of the matter comes down to, it's either you're gonna pay for that in your water bill or you're gonna pay it in your tax bill.
Right.
I don't have a problem if we look into that and try to reach common ground there, as well as long as there's a street opening bond in place, which typically is for a 2-year period, I think is what we require. So
That would be part of this fact, as long as, the traditional testing specification is a 2-year maintenance bond after final inspection. So that would guarantee all the trenches and paving from any sort of failure. I don't think it might be different for.
Now, I don't know what price is, since we've never had that go on. I don't know what the pricing is for that. I'm imagining that it's very reasonable. And if you don't violate anything, then you get some money back.
Well, actually, you don't, it's a flat fee, and it's like a per opening, or you can get a blanket opening bond, and no, you just pay it all up front. This is very low cost, it's only a couple percentage points of the total.
Okay, that sounds
Very inexpensive.
Typically when we bid it, it's not a line item for us, it's built into their, bid price.
Okay, so that would come from the contractor then?
Yeah, well, I've never done a project without it from Chester, so.
Okay, now since if we do fall under the requirements of both of those issues, then we would obviously need a waiver from you folks to be able to proceed. Now, we're working on our specifications and hoping to open or send our project out for bid in our April or May meeting. So if we got the okay from the majority of you folks and we're approved, would you ratify that for us at the next meeting, and so we can put that in the contract? Or does anyone care?
Well, I don't see why we couldn't address it by then and bring it to a vote by that
As long as
time.
we see it, yeah, as long as we, if we have it, be able to look at it for a while.
The other thing, Mike, I think that we'd wanna look at too is, I don't know where you plan to work in the next 6 months on these projects, but our coordination's been good before, so that we're not paving streets and then you come in the following year and do a lot of work there. So that would be another consideration, is that we have some coordination of where you're probably gonna be working.
The streets proposed in my report have already been cross-checked with their planned project.
I knew that was the case, yeah.
Okay. So
I
we're in
already
good
did it.
shape there?
Yeah, I already did it.
Okay, so, I can then, would it be reasonable then for us to instruct him to narrow down the paving so that it covers the opening and so forth and that?
Well, I'm not until council, we have a consensus of council, but does anybody here have any objections to looking into waiving that to the sewer authority? I mean, we'll have to investigate it and talk about it, and it seems like you have a consensus.
Okay, because we may be going out for bid specifications before your next meeting, and that would be the only concern. So, and we'll get our solicitor together with your solicitor to make sure everything is all the T's are crossed and so forth. And the final item I wanted to report on is, I know I came and told you that in the past we approached the DEP regarding an extension for the Homestead Run. Well, we're finding out now that because they've reopened the Alcosan agreement, they're giving them opportunities to do more with green weather remedies, that they're being a little more reasonable, maybe because they're considering that was put into our consent decree because of a spoiler that's no longer being needed. So we're looking for a postponement that would coincide with what Alcosan is going to receive in 2026. Now, there's a couple things that can happen in the meantime. This project, by the way, has gone from $5 million to $8 million, and now we're looking at a maximum, I'm being told, of $10 million for this project. It's not it's a very lot. This would be the cost of the two programs for reconstruction that the one we've already done and the one we're going into. That's what the cost of this would be. We are, now there's, Bob and I were talking about this out in the hall earlier. There's some talk that Alcosan might be interested in taking over interceptors that are of this magnitude. And if that's the case, we would hope that we would turn it over to them and they would maintain it and spread that across their ratepayer base. So I wanted to pass that on to you regarding Homestead Run and the reconstruction work. And if anyone had any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
The $10 million project, if it gets that big, is that one that is going to be totally borne by Munhall ratepayers, or is that shared with the others that are coming into that pipe?
Munhall's share now would be 70%. So, we're still looking at a potential $7 million. And if Alcosan would, or if the DEP would allow us a delay, at least to coincide with the 2026 date that Alcosan's plan, right now it's an 18-inch line that goes across the river, and we're going to be bringing to it, I think, 24, and it doesn't make sense. There's going to be overflows at that point. So if we can delay that project until that time period, there's a lot of things in the meantime, and I think you'd agree with me, Bob, that that's a lot of things that can happen.
We're under the gun to have our new pipe in the ground.
We were under the,
unless we change the order.
That deadline actually has passed. We're about 2 years beyond that, and they were aware that we were delayed because of various reasons. Now they're looking at giving us an extension that I suspect is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 years. Now, if we can get that even extended longer.
When are they going to make Alcosan make their pipe bigger?
2026.
Just for everybody's edification, that pipe that goes down through Ravine Street is a pipe that's this big. And we're under mandate, we should have already had it replaced to make it this big. Except when it gets down to the riverbank, it goes into a pipe that's this big, that we don't own. It doesn't make any sense for us to have to replace that pipe now. But of course it is a consent order, so common sense is not allowed to interfere.
That's the basis of our argument that we've taken to the DEP, and we'll continue to try to get them to understand the reasonableness of our position.
Anybody else have questions for Mike?
I wanted to bring up the fact that what was Munhall Run, and you told everyone that it's Ravine Street.
Homestead.
The Homestead Run, that starts up at the Park Methodist Church and runs down through Shady Avenue and then down through
that's the one
the
that
Humboldt
had
Valley.
problems
And we pick up another line from West Mifflin at that point. And then it proceeds down through the Ravine Street Valley. Yeah, and you're going to have, just as I was mentioning to someone today, you're going to have some erosion issues in that there's going to be a real problem. As the storm water continues to increase, it just taking out more and more land, and that's a problem.
Once Ravine Street returns to being a creek again, get ready. We know it's gonna happen, we talked about it for years. And all that, no longer leaches through into the old sewer line.
Yeah,
And the storm water's going into the creek.
Yeah, that and coupled with increasing, changing weather patterns that have come about with 10-year storms now twice a year.
One more question, Mike, if I can. If you're gonna borrow $5 million, $5.2 million, are the rates currently in effect adequate to pay the debt service on that, or can we be expecting a rate increase?
Well, Considering the payment for the first loan is $29,000 a month, there's just no way that can be covered under our current rate structure. We started these projects with a balance, and we actually have the lowest rates out of all surrounding communities. We're gonna be going through a rate study to figure out what we need to incorporate, because that's part of what PennVest is gonna wanna see before they loan us any more money. Are you gonna have your rates cover this? We keep our costs very contained. Employee-wise, we have one person. We subcontract all of our work, and it helps us to keep our costs down. And we'll continue to operate that way if the Lord permits it. So, we do our best to try to keep the rates where they're at. But you can't control.
So there's gonna be a rate increase, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's very good. I mean, somebody has to cover the cost.
I don't want to charge you, Mom.
We'll probably be looking at around, $55,000 a month. And we have 4,500 rate. And but this is not unusual. This has happened every year.
What hurts us is, and everybody else, is unfunded mandates.
That's true.
There's the mandates they put on us that there's no funds that come in from the state or the federal government or anything.
Well, we were fortunate enough to receive part of our homestead run under the Army Corps of Engineers project that was covered. But that's certainly not covered. That was a $2 million project. Now we're looking at $5 million, and maybe $10 million. That's $20.5 million. There's no money coming into that now. They say you can afford to have cable TV, you can afford to pay your sewer bills. That's the
Thanks for coming, Mike.
Okay, thanks for
Appreciate the update.